Okay, welcome to Meet Your Monsters. If you would happily name your dog Clive Barker, then this is the podcast for you.
Favorite joke ever.
That was a good one, right? My name is Abram Macon. These are my friends.
Kathleen.
Matt.
Colby.
And we are down to the Fantastic Four tonight.
The four horsepersons of the snowpocalypse.
Yeah, the Sinister Six has given way to the Fantastic Four. Sarah,
it's a weather thing today.
Yeah, Sarah's still out, and Derek could make it for the snow. And so it's back to the original group.
It really is all we need.
The OGs.
He didn't mean that, Sarah. Oh, and Derek. Just kidding, Derek.
Okay, for you at home, Meet Your Monsters is a podcast in which I show my friends horror movies that I love, and we find out if they love them too, or if they just think my taste in movies sucks. You fucking jerk. Okay, this week's movie was the 1990s Tremors, written by S.S. Wilson, Brent Maddock, and Ron Underwood, directed by Ron Underwood, and starring Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, and Finn Carter. Finn Carter's not someone I'm familiar with. I don't know her from anything other than this movie.
Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire was also in this movie. Okay, so I first saw this movie when I was a kid. It was one of those that we rented. Me and my brothers watched it and loved it so much we watched it again and again and again. It was fucking wonderful. Mm-hmm. And my memory only goes to that. Like, I just remember watching it and everyone having a great time. Everyone was super happy. We ate a lot of candy and stuff and went, this is fucking awesome.
How could you not be super happy?
Yeah, what'd you guys think?
Well, real quick, I want to share my first experience with this movie.
Only I get to do that.
It was on a movie channel, but I came right at the part as she was, and I was probably like 10 or 11 at this point. Mm-hmm. And when she was like scrambling to get her pants off really fast. And the thing with movie channels back then is they didn't have like on demand and stuff, so they just they had like a cycle of movies that would replay, so you just had to watch for the next showing. And I was like, I want to know if she got naked earlier in the movie. So I stopped watching it then, and I set a reminder for the next time it came around, and I watched it again, and I was like, hey, that was cool. No boobs, though.
Yeah, no boobs.
Oh, damn it. Spoilers.
We'll get to that. So everyone was happy with this movie?
Yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah.
It was better than I remembered it when I watched it when I was a kid.
I had the opposite experience. It wasn't as cool as I remember it being. I liked it, but it wasn't as cool as I remember it being.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, the setup was just so perfect. Like, it didn't feel like a single minute was wasted on the screen. Like,
I agree.
It all came back around, or there was always a reason. Like, they always acted logically. They weren't like dumb horror movie people, except for that one kid.
Yeah,
but he didn't even die.
They did the right
they were
thing.
so smart.
When shit started going down, they tried to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
They tried every possible way.
With every huge gun.
And they did a good job of keeping them isolated.
Yeah,
like it was logical. It wasn't just like, we can't leave this haunted house. We spent a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
We can't use phones and stuff.
Yeah.
But they totally
couldn't
did.
because they were in the canyon.
Yeah.
But they
They
tried.
had the CB, but it didn't get out far enough.
Yeah.
And the phones were down because the electric company or like utilities was working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when the worms attacked.
Yeah. Kathleen was asleep for this one, but she's seen it before, so.
But like a really long
What did you
time
think?
ago.
What did you think? You like the movie?
I think I did.
Well, Kathleen remembers it. Great.
Bringing.
It doesn't seem like something I wouldn't like.
That's my quote for the night. It doesn't seem like something I wouldn't like.
I remember Reba McEntire with a gun.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
was pretty
like,
much the
apparently
movie.
it's like the most perfect movie ever.
Yeah.
What did Reba do after this?
Nothing. Crawled into a hole, I think. And
Didn't she
She
do a
had the
TV show?
show.
Yeah, she had a
I'm
TV
just
show.
kidding.
She was
Oh,
being
okay.
sarcastic,
I was
guys.
gonna say, did you put out like
a
10 more
really
albums that
successful
year?
music career.
I like
book.
how
Popular
I like
sitcom called
they were
Reba.
like mad. Like, fuck are you talking about? You're crazy. She had a great TV show. It's called Reba. How could you
Check
not
out
know?
this tattoo I have.
I just meant like, was she in another movie?
She's been in lots of movies.
Wait,
In
like-
Charlotte's Web, she was a voice character.
Oh.
Nobody cares about the remake. Just kidding.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Follow us through the darkness of our wasted and festering memories as we struggle to recall the movie we just watched with this week's sinister synopsis.
You know.
Okay.
But you won't be able to hear me over that.
I'll edit it out.
Yeah, so you won't be. Yeah, the thing that you say in that introduction, the movie we just watched, we watched that a week ago.
They don't need to know.
It's part of the mystique.
The magic of radio.
Yeah, you're ruining the effect here. Besides, we just watched it a week ago.
That's true. Okay. Continue.
except for Kathleen.
Oh, technically 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago because last week was Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, why just to bring that up, Abe? God.
He
Okay,
needs a pizza. Sponsor us. Give us pizza.
Yeah. Now, normally I have somebody's synopsis, but all of the ones that they had online were really fucking long. And so I thought we would just kind of go through this old school style like we used to do it, and I'll talk. Anybody, feel free to jump in anytime. This is about...
So it was about...
Keep going.
Give me the leeway.
Okay, two guys, Valentine and Earl, were they're tired of living in their shitty town, and they're wanting to get out. And on their way out, they happen across a scene in which there's some dead folks, and poor what's his name is dead up in this tower, and they end up getting trapped in the area because of some giant monstrous worms.
Yeah.
And let me just say, you could probably cut the sexual tension with a knife between Kevin Bacon and
You think
Fred
there was
Ward.
some brokeback desert stuff going on?
They were
No.
just flirting with each other the
It
whole
was
time.
real homoerotic.
I didn't see that myself.
It's called acting.
Yeah, I didn't get the homoeroticism effects, but
Like
I
can
think
hang
that
out.
happens with Kevin Bacon in every movie.
I think he's just so magnetic.
Yeah, well, it's just like for me, like I can hang out with the dude like 4 or 5 hours max before I'm starting to wonder, like, is this guy coming on to me now? Are we like boyfriends? Is this how this works?
now keep in mind he's staying the night here tonight with you guys, so
I'm going to have to
That
be very
part out.
careful I don't send the wrong signals.
Matt, edit that part out. I want anybody to know.
yeah, we're having our first ever Meet Your Monster slumber party / dance party / Colby gets weird after the 5-hour mark party.
Just
Colby
gonna be me
experiment.
sitting in a room by myself, just staring at the wall, like, what does this mean? Am I both their boyfriends now?
The answer is yes. Okay, so they discover that they're
Well,
what?
the way they get trapped in too is like the road crewman was working on it, and the worms attack and make a big rock slide that
bust-
covers up the road.
Yeah,
They
the
can't
highway's
get off
out.
the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody has a 4-wheel drive, so they can't escape.
Meanwhile, a nice young scientist named Rhonda is measuring the seismic activity in the area, and they kind of befriend her, and they all have to escape the giant worms together,
Yeah.
and somehow kill one. They're running from it, and they jump into one of these concrete drainage ditches, and it fucking smashes its head on it, and they go, "Holy shit, it's a giant worm."
You know, the more we're talking about this movie, the more I like it. Because like maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind watching it. Because I'm like, man, that was a really well thought out movie.
Yeah. What I think is cool about that is you get to see right up front, like, at first you think the monster is this big ass snake looking thing, and then you find out later that that's just, there's a bunch of those in its mouth, and it's actually this really huge, like, fucking Jaws size worm that swims through the dirt. And it goes so fast, like,
Got
it just
about 3
rips through
tons
the
of it.
fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank
And what I really love how they're able to kill one right off the bat and then examine it, and they go like, you get to see what they're up against. I think that's neat. You don't see that in a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
You go, this is what we have to
It's
fight.
too expensive.
That right there is where Deep Star 6 failed, because we didn't see the monster till the very end.
And even then,
Barely.
you barely saw it.
Yeah. And sometimes that can be well done, but in
Yeah,
this case,
yeah.
it really worked to show us exactly what this thing was.
Yeah.
Because it made it more fun. This was a movie that was all about fun. It wasn't super gory. There wasn't a lot of boobs. It was PG-13.
There's 0 boobs.
It was just fun and
It
an
was.
adventure. So with her, they escape and they go back to the town. I think the town was called. Does anybody remember?
Tremor Town.
Trimerton?
Tromaville? No, I forget. Precious or not.
Precious?
Whatever.
You know what? Edit
Whatever
this
the
whole
town
thing
was
out.
called.
We'll just come up with the name, make it. You make it flow right in there.
Fuck, I forget the name of that. Anyway, they go back to there, and they're telling everybody about the giant worms, and then of course the worms. And this was cool too. Was the woman with her scientific equipment was able to tell that there were 4, now 3 of these things, and so all they had to do was figure out a way to either escape them or kill them, which was pretty cool. So they go back, they recruit the town folks, try to get them involved and save them, and they all kind of team up to try to escape or save these worms. Most of them don't make it. but a lot of them did.
A good number of
Yeah,
them did.
yeah, like they did pretty well.
But
Yeah.
Egg Shin didn't make it out.
Egg Shin, a lot of gore. Poor guy.
He got busted up.
Yeah, he's now in the hell of being boiled alive or whatever. Chinese have a lot of hell. But in a nutshell, that's the movie. They have to either escape or kill these giant fucking worms.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't escape, and they have to kill them.
And it's cool just to see their whole planning process and how they have,
Oh.
a somewhat clear plan. And like I was saying before, they make smart decisions.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating in horror movies when you see people make decisions that would never happen in real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? They tried. They tried to get away. They tried.
Every angle to escape.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want to... They weren't like, we're going to kill these fucking things. They're like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
See, and while I love the slasher movie, that's the thing I was thinking. I was like, I would just take off in a dead fucking sprint and not look back.
And this is one of those rare horror movies where you're actually rooting for the good guys.
Yeah.
Usually, like Freddy, Jason, any of those movies, you're going, kill them, who cares,
Yeah.
But these guys, you're rooting for them because they're good people. You got the sense right away that they were decent guys. They were helping people. They did the right thing,
Yeah.
even though it took them out of their.
They're all a bunch of spiked
They ended up getting stuck there because they were pulling what's his name off that fucking tower.
Yeah.
They could have just kept driving and been safe as hell, and everyone else would have been fucked.
Yeah.
So, you were rooting for these guys.
Yeah.
You should have saved that for pieces and parts, Abe. Should have saved it for pieces and parts.
Well, I could bring it back up. I mean,
We'll edit that part out and then just cut that and then put it in the.
he's got you doing a lot of editing already.
I have a vision for this podcast, okay?
Uh,
Or I guess what would be the sound equivalent of a vision? I have a hearing.
you have a vision for how you want this to sound.
Yeah.
Okay, now the fun starts with everyone's favorite pieces and parts. Who's got a favorite scene?
Oh, I've got a bunch. I really liked when they came upon the scene when the construction workers were killed and they just rolled over a helmet and there's just brains in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
The scene we've kind of already addressed this, how they, I don't know, it's just really well thought out, but I like how they addressed this and how well they're thinking out, is when they were talking about they were theorizing about the monsters and they said, I bet they're from outer space, I bet they're toxic mutation, which I liked that they did that and addressed that they don't really care what it,
Well, they had no way of ever finding out.
Well, yeah, and the thing I've always found too is a lot of the times it's disappointing.
Yeah.
It was that's kind of lame. Like just spilling some toxic ooze on them turns them into a big worm. I like the mystery.
Or you find out that the most evil guy in the galaxy is just a pussy emo kid.
Yeah.
And you go, fuck.
Well, and I guess I can't speak for you, Matt. I know Abe and I are huge Batman fans. Kathleen, you're a big Batman fan too?
Bat who?
Well, and I haven't been watching that Gotham show, but I saw they just had a young Joker on there. I have no interest in seeing a young Joker. I don't want to know how he became evil. I don't want to know how he became crazy. I like it the way it is.
Well, if you read The Killing Joke, you know his origin anyway, but they can do several origins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was again, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I really like that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good when they hint at an origin but don't explicitly state it.
Yeah.
It's best to have a little mystery.
Leave some mystery.
Yeah.
We don't want to know what's in Marcellus Wallace's suitcase.
Yeah.
I
It's
kinda
not
do.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
there's an
do.
answer.
That's the reason. You do.
Yeah.
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 What do you mean there's an answer? What are you
Well,
talking
in the original script, it just said diamonds in a
Diamonds,
suitcase.
about? Oh, yeah.
So,
But it's better that they did it
Yeah,
how they
but
did. Yeah.
he realized that was unimportant and
Yeah.
boring.
I liked also the scene when they bust through the gun nuts walls and they're just grabbing guns off the wall and just shooting with everything they can get their hands on.
And they're already loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What do you think?
My favorite scene was kind of one of the more boring ones of the movie. I just liked when Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward got trapped with the lady scientist and those
On the
rocks,
rock.
and they had to pole vault. It was just a great illustration of how much they planned out every minute of that movie, because you see it and they're trapped on it, and it shows that they stayed there overnight, and it was a 5-second scene of them staying over there at night and then finding the poles in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they kept that scene of them staying there the night was to illustrate later on that they couldn't wait these things out, because
Yeah.
they would just wait as long as it took.
Yeah, they'd wait
So-
forever.
Yeah, so just a great use of time. And I used to pole vault in high school, so
You're connected with
yeah.
it.
You're watching it going damn, that is good
Oh,
technique.
good
They must have hired some
form.
professionals.
Kathleen, do you remember any scenes that you might have enjoyed or might not have not enjoyed?
Reba with a gun.
Yeah.
she
One of-
wasn't even acting. She just showed up.
She's like, a giant worm, I'll take care of this. One of my favorite parts, and there's many, was They kill one of the giant worms by throwing this homemade bomb. It eats it, and then it blows up. But the second worm learns from that and is too smart. And so when he throws the bomb at him, it kind of barfs it up back at him and blows up all their other weapons.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that was like good because the creature is smart. So he's like formidable, and he blew up their supplies, so now they're extra fucked.
Yeah.
So not only do they not have the means to keep trying to kill this thing, they got one chance left. It was a really good way of making an accident, which I love in movies, making the creature stronger, and making them weaker all at the same time.
Yeah, I always forget.
done.
Oh, sorry. I always forget about that character trait for these worms is that they're super smart. They learn really quick.
I like to do when they explain, like they point out the little spikes on the outside of their skin. They're like, oh, they travel using these.
Yeah.
They just really thought it out.
Yeah, it was really well done. It was the whole thing. It was fun to watch. You liked the characters. You liked the monsters. I can't think of a single problem with this movie, other than it wasn't chock full of titties.
My problem with it is you didn't see by doing this, and God knows I would have done it if I had been there. I would have took like either the big worm or little worm and put it between my legs and like humped like it was like my wiener. Like, who wouldn't have done that? The big huge like phallic worm.
Although I agree with you, that's what you do when they're all dead. Not when there's three more. When there's three more, you go, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Take a picture of it, like check it out. It's a big, big
but you're kind of right because remember that kid and that old man were posing with the little one and pretending it was like
they did address it just a PG-13 way.
Yeah,
they had to do what you got to do. What you got to do. You got to get the asses in the seats. Make it PG-13. I understand.
They were playing with it, but that's the thing too that was so cool is I don't think it needed to be R-rated. I had as much fun, you know.
I felt like there was a lot of gore in it. Even it's just the worms.
Yeah. Oh, when the thing went shooting off the cliff and they hit the rocks below and just sussed it out
like a yam. If you throw a yam at a rock.
Yeah. It reminded me of when they try to blow up beached whales.
Yeah.
You know, it's just big splatter everywhere. It was awesome. Okay, for each movie, Kathleen digs through all the dirt and slime of the filthy internet to bring us this week's terrifying trivia.
The movie was originally supposed to be R-rated, but not for the violence because of the language. So all they did was cut out all of the F words except for one, when Kevin Bacon got to tell the little worm thing to fuck off or fuck you or something.
Nice.
Worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then this was the first movie for staunch Republican Reba McEntire. Now I have to throw that in every time.
Yeah.
Staunch Republican Reba McEntire. And then Michael Gross was the only one to appear in all 4 Tremors movies.
And he was the gun nut that was married to Reba McEntire.
The dad from Family Ties.
Yeah.
It is a dad from Family Ties. I'll be damned. Didn't even realize that. He was a real peaceful guy in Family Ties, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't it that one episode where like they messed up a black family's house and they went to help clean it up? And like,
oh, I don't know. I didn't know.
I think that was an episode of Family Ties. Was that the one with Michael J. Fox, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
where he was a staunch Republican.
Staunch Republican.
Son of a bitch. It is time once again to meet your monster.
Alright, so our monster was classified by John Landis as Nature's Revenge. As we addressed before, we don't know the origin, which is great. I don't mind. Their motivation was really they were hungry. They wanted to eat some people.
Yeah.
They had no other motivation outside of that. There was 4 different worms and 4 different deaths. One they tricked into colliding with a big concrete barrier. Another one, staunch Republican Reba McEntire, and the dad from Family Ties shot to shit. One they fed a bomb to, and the last one they ran off a cliff. Cool.
There was another thing that I wanted to bring up that I really loved that I didn't talk about before was they've established that these things are attracted to sound. So everyone's trying to be real quiet and real still, but no one tells the kid outside on the pogo stick.
Yeah.
And so you just hear as this fucking little kid's bouncing down the street, and you just see like the worm coming at him like this.
Yeah.
It was really good tension.
It was.
Yeah.
It's not like Jaws. Like that scene in Jaws when like they're like, oh, like he freaks out and he thinks he sees a shark, and then it shows a shark coming up behind him and going into the little retention pond. It was cool.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Cut that out in case we do Jaws later. I want to save that one for
We're
Jaws.
making more work. Okay, here at Meet Your Monsters, we like to examine all forms of depravity, and so now for the mathematically perverted, the Colby Count. Gotta tally that shit up.
Yeah. So there were 6 bodies in this movie.
Were
Most of which you didn't really see. I think a couple I counted that you actually see die.
Egg Shin.
Egg Shin, may rest in peace. I counted like I figured because you saw the brains in the helmet. Like,
Yeah, he's
that counts as a body.
Yeah.
That's part of his body at one point.
The important part.
Yeah. So when it was mentioned before, no boobs, but they did get her in her panties, which...
Underoos.
What?
They don't like panties for
don't
some
like
Who
reason.
doesn't like panties?
As
Sorry,
a word.
Sorry, guys. I'm going for it.
I like panties myself.
I like panties, too.
Yeah.
Skivvies.
I could go with Adam.
They'd be like, oh, man, check out those sexy skivvies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I respect because they went as far as they could for PG-13.
Well,
They
check
pushed
this-
the envelope.
Check this out too, which is really cool. Was that, and I'm always looking for shit like this in my comic book because you want to get the girls as scantily clad as possible because it's sort of a feature of the horror film is the
I
exploitation.
think at one point Reba took off her vest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably
That's
the hottest
turned
thing
me
I've
on.
ever seen.
Yeah, but like she gets wrapped up in barbed wire and has to ditch her pants to escape. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You gotta
Smart.
ditch the pants.
Yeah, you ditch the pants in that situation.
Yeah.
No.
I remember reading something, and they're talking about female stunt women and how hard it is on their bodies as compared to men because in every action movie they're not wearing any clothes, so there's nowhere to hide the
Oh.
pads for when they're doing those falls.
That's a very good point. You never think of that.
Yeah.
Poor ladies.
Damn, yeah. Some cold-blooded shit.
Yeah.
Should fix that for those ladies. We're very progressive for it.
Yeah, we're all for women's rights.
Yeah. Is that all you got for the
That's
Colby
it.
Count?
Bodies and boobs.
Okay, so let's see. The films we discuss on this podcast are horrifying, but sometimes real life is even more fucked up. Brace yourself for the nefarious news.
Okay, so this one comes from Arkansas. A swarm of unexplained earthquakes strike Arkansas. Jim Sutterfield was briefly puzzled by a thumping sound that seemed to slam the back of his office chair, but when the small-town Arkansas fire chief turned and saw no one was around, he quickly realized it was just an earthquake. Several small earthquakes ranging in magnitude from 1.8 to 3.8 rattled north-central Arkansas, and particularly the cities of Greenbrier and Guy. That's funny. There's a place called Guy, Arkansas.
It's okay.
He's that guy from Guy. This was actually recent. This is 2011. The U.S. Geological Survey reported more than 30 earthquakes in the area, which, of course, like I mentioned before, the most powerful being 3.8 on the Richter scale, and 700 quakes have occurred or had occurred in the region over the prior 6 months. Scott Osbrooks, the geohazard supervisor for the Arkansas Geological Survey, said that it could be a naturally occurring swarm like the Enola swarm, or it could be related to the ongoing natural gas exploration area. But they left out a third possibility, didn't they? Worms.
Indeed, it could have been giant worms.
Yeah, so like I said, this happened in 2011, and they still don't know what caused the earthquakes.
Some great new sensationalism. It's not a series of earthquakes, it's a swarm.
Now, this is a nice story because a lot of the stories will have serial killers or some ghost stories or some really fucked up stuff. But this is kind of the most ominous of all because it's just showing that we are just pimples on the ass of this earth. Like, we don't know what's going on underneath us. We're just on this big ball of shifting dirt, and we don't know what the fuck it is.
I always say,
80 inches of snow in Boston.
Like they always say, like, this thing isn't possible, or this thing, this couldn't happen. And I'm always like, well, as far as we know. Because it could be going on another planet or at the bottom of the ocean. We don't know.
Hope it's Tremors.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't want the people in Arkansas. Well, I guess it's Arkansas.
Yeah, they can.
He did it.
To anyone listening from Arkansas, thanks. Hours of effort and creativity go into making a movie, and there's always some asshole just waiting to shit on it. And so on behalf of the underappreciated horror filmmakers, we are here to take revenge with the critical critique.
My God, they've all gone.
This one comes from Vincent Canby from the New York Times.
That was the very one I picked.
Yep.
You
Not
guys.
surprised. Well, when you hear it, and there's a picture of this guy next to his review, and he looks like he is like minutes from death. Like if
He's a staunch Republican.
The staunchest.
If anybody out our
Geezer!
listeners, if anybody out there's our listeners read the Game of Thrones books, this is how I picture Maester Aemon. Like how they said he was like over 100 years old. That's what this guy kind of looks like. So here's his review. More than anything else, it looks like the sort of movie that might have been put together so that tourists visiting Universal Studios could see a movie being made.
Clearly
Vincent
he's gone
Gambie,
insane.
next week, may you rest in peace. But for now,
When did he write that article? Because he might be gone by now.
look, it says here. I think this is when it was posted on Rotten Tomatoes. It was May 20th, 2003. But I can't imagine this old fuck was like, I'm gonna pop in Tremors and write a review.
Yeah, and this was a New York Times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fucking New York Times reviewing Tremors.
Well, New Yorkers don't understand small town Tremor movies.
Have you ever seen a movie set in New York? They usually suck. It's like, oh, check out this crazy culture we have.
Avengers was set in New York.
There's a guy playing drums. What? Right in the middle of the park.
You
I'll tell you what, I've been to New York. Wasn't impressed. Fucking rats everywhere.
I can't say anything other than New York seems pretty cool because I haven't been there.
I haven't been there either, but I don't know.
But I bet
You'll be
they've got,
disappointed.
I bet they've got good pizza.
No, I was pizza
Covered in
sucked.
rats.
You're gonna say the New York pizza sucked.
It sucked.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what, I was thinking like, man, I can't wait to go home so I could have some like decent pizza.
I'm gonna say this: New Yorkers who might find this podcast in the not too distant future, tell us what you think of Colby's review of your city.
Well, you know what?
What do you
Some
think?
pizza.
He
Yes.
says New York pizza.
We're all fans here. I guess I could say that. I'm assuming we're all fans of Ari Shafir. And I remember read one of his tweets one time, and he said, "I'm back in New York where the pizza and the people are garbage."
Well,
Here's something I want to point out. Just catty corner from Vincent Cambier's review is Stefan Berger Stephenson. Remember him?
fuck Stefan Berger.
No,
Stephenson.
he says it was a fun B movie flick.
Where was he on the last one?
Yeah, I know.
It was the same shit.
Yeah, what do you got up your butt, Stefan? Maybe he's not a pro wrestling fan.
It's funny that
As soon
we've.
as it was Kane, he checked out.
It's funny that we've done so many of these that we're starting to notice the reviewers. That's pretty funny. Stefan Berger Stephenson.
You know what it is with a name like Stefan Berger Stephenson? You're
Yeah.
gonna forget
That's
that.
so meta because his name is kind of like a burger. You got the two
Sandwich
buns.
in the bun.
Yeah, and in the middle.
Oh, that's fantastic. He should have his own logo that looks like
You
a
should have
burger.
saved that for your thing.
Meta. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so Vincent Cambry, was it?
Yeah.
Fuck you, sir.
Yeah.
Fuck you right in the mouth.
We appreciate your service. I'm assuming in both world wars.
Yeah. He's probably a really nice guy. But just for tonight, while you're making fun of our movie.
His great grandkids are gonna be pissed when they hear about this.
It sounds like we've got this old person persona down.
You know, but if any old people out there listening, they're going to be like, fuck this guy.
They don't know what
Little
podcasts
fuck
are.
stains.
I'm convinced that there's some old people out there that are pretty awesome in technology.
Yeah, that's true.
Bill Gates probably.
I've tried to explain what a podcast is to my grandparents multiple times, though.
And they
What
couldn't
they're
even do
listening right
I just
now.
tell
They're like,
them
so you
radio.
can get it on the radio? I'm like, no, it's like the radio.
it. I
What
saw
station?
Sid Mead came to my school to give us a lecture on
Who is that?
he did all the designs for Blade Runner and Aliens and
Oh,
Talking about
to your
the guy
school, like
from,
the art
Yeah.
Rob
institute?
Zombie
Yeah.
movies.
Oh,
what? Oh, Sid Haig.
I was like,
No.
what? He come here.
Sid
school?
Mead.
well,
Have
and
you
I
guys-
thought too. You meant like your elementary schools. Like he just showed up and was like, "Here's all my work in Tremors, guys."
Sup, guys?
How do you guys not know Sid Mead? He's so fucking famous. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
Oh, that's Sid Mead.
I'll slap you.
Oh, duh! I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Anyway, he was an older fella and had been working in the movies a long time. Did his own PowerPoint and everything. It was badass. I'm telling you, old people can do technology just fine.
Some people keep up, some people don't.
Yeah. But I know some young people who are like, what the fuck does this button do? You know.
Can we right here?
Wait, this is coming from A. We didn't have a cell phone till like 6 months ago.
You had to bring that up.
It made a nice 30th birthday.
Yeah. I did send my first text message on my 30th birthday. But it's not like I didn't have a computer. So,
That filled
see,
the
I'm
whole
just
room.
proof. I'm just proof that older people can
Abe called me over to help him set up his Xbox.
I still need to say that. It's been sitting there for a year. You haven't touched it. I'm like, what is this Avatar thing? Okay, let's get meta about murder with Matt's themes and tropes. Did you cut that short?
I did. Sorry.
No, that's beautiful.
I'm sorry. I'll play the third movement later. There weren't really too many tropes in this movie. There was only one that I saw, and it was where Kevin Bacon and Fred are talking, and Fred's like outlining each of Kevin's flaws throughout, you know, their time working together, and it's like, yeah, you have poor planning, and you don't see things through to the end, and you're impulsive, and every time that happens in a movie, that basically means that these are all the things he's going to overcome for his character arc. Which
They call that the 6 things that need to be fixed.
It's not always 6 things.
But that's what they call it.
Yeah.
In Back to the Future, it was like his dad was a pussy, and his cousin was in jail, and his brother worked at fast food, and his
Biff was
sister
an asshole to him.
Yeah.
And nobody could call him chicken. Is that one?
That was for part 2, but yeah.
Nobody calls me yellow.
Yeah. And when you
and the minority character died. That was unfortunate.
That's true, yeah.
Would that be the staunch Republican?
Did you feel like at the end of the movie they had addressed all those things?
I think so. I think I don't know. It never really focused on like one character specifically. I mean, they worked together throughout the whole movie, and all kind of.
He did have a very specific woman in mind, and he ended up replacing her with the flat-chested brown hair.
He threw away the picture of his old girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least he's heading that direction.
They were leaving at the end, and they wanted to leave that town.
Also, Kevin Bacon did not take one drink of water throughout the whole movie. As
No.
Abe has pointed out many times before.
Thing, yeah, he always looks thirsty.
Now here's something that I would like to say that I don't know if it brought up, and Kathleen didn't mention in her trivia, was
Thanks, Kevin.
when he started doing this movie, I guess he had sort of a breakdown and was like really upset that he was doing a movie about giant worms. Little did he know, it came out really fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was pretty bummed out because he felt like his career was in like an all-time slump because he was doing a giant worm movie.
I would have felt the same way, probably.
Yeah, thinking about like if you're looking at it and you're going, "Oh fuck, I'm doing this giant worm movie," but it was really a great movie, so it worked out well. I don't have a title for it yet, but listen now to the sequelizer.
A title or a sound effect.
We have a new segment. We haven't put it all together yet, but here it is.
So for this sequel, I thought it would be awesome to do a crossover. So I thought it was pretty clear that these Tremors are migratory, kind of like wolves, so they travel in packs from town to town or whatever, just because the fact that this town has been built and not destroyed the minute people got there kind of indicates that these worms, they move around a lot. So it'd be great if they, traveled further down into, say, the desert where the hills have eyes happened.
Oh.
Crossover then.
Would they become mutated?
They would become mutated. I'm not sure, what cool way could they become mutated? What could you add to that amazing creature?
Lady hats.
Yes.
Like lizard.
What if they could maybe grow more intelligent and actually learn to speak?
That'd be awesome.
And then maybe they could call people to them and then munch them,
Or they could just ask
sirens.
for food. They're like, hey I might
okay.
eat you, but if you get me a cow, I won't.
What
maybe.
would be great about this crossover is that their main prey would be those hillbilly mutant people.
That's true.
So, yeah, we get all the fun character deaths of awful people.
That would be awesome. I'd watch that movie. Tremors versus The Hills Have Eyes.
I feel like that's the type of movie that when you hear about, you're like, there's no way you can fuck that up. And then you go see it in the theater, like, man, they fucked that up. It's kind of like Alien versus Predator. You're like, there's no way you can fuck that up. And you went and saw it, and you're like, man, they fucked that up.
Although I gotta say, the Tremors versus Hill Have Eyes, that sounds way more promising than Alien versus Predator.
So, what was the real sequel like to Tremors?
It was pretty much the same sort of deal, only they had some that could walk on the land. They were like these bird-looking things.
Oh, that was the second one? Okay,
yeah.
so I have seen that.
So, yeah, they tried to make the escalation of the monster into something more.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it worked that well. Because what was so cool about Tremors was the worms.
Yeah, and I think the problem you have there, too, is like when it comes above ground and walks around on 2 legs, it's a different animal.
Yeah.
It is a completely different animal
Oh, so
at that point.
it's not even like the smaller stage. It's just a completely different thing.
It just looked like a weird baby bird, like
Yeah.
walking around.
I just remember there being a lot of bad CG in that one.
Yeah.
So that's a killer too.
Yeah, it looked really blurry and weird.
Yeah, because the creature was so well done in the first one.
Yeah, even those little places where it would go underground and it'd show like the POV of the worm, and it was just like you're flying through space, only it's dirt and rock and shit. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I know the guy that did that review, if you had read the whole review, he talked shit about how they buried that car. But I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
What was his problem with it?
Oh, I just thought they never explained it and it was weird. But what I love is like when he brushes off the dirt and the light comes up because it was on still. Like that was really scary.
Yeah, like could you imagine seeing that? You'd
Shit my
yourself.
pants. Yeah. I would leave a trail of poop like all the way back to my truck or whatever.
Not maybe one solid kaboom right in my pants.
Super long? Oh, like from...
Like rope. I think you made a great sequel, Matt. I would watch that movie.
I would too.
In closing, to feed the sun god with junk food movie dialogue, we offer unto you the Quetzalcoatl. I got a good quote for this one.
Do you have more than one? Can I borrow?
I just have one.
Oh.
But he said, Fred Ward, who was Earl, said, "What the hell are they?" And then Kevin Bacon said, "Sons of bitches." Now, Kathleen, since you didn't watch the movie, do you want to quote something else?
Today I quoted that Drake song.
Well,
What was the quote?
What's the name? Not important. From Truffle Butter.
I don't know what any of that is. Truffle butter? Right on. All right.
you basic, Abe.
Shit. I know that's an insult. Okay, does anyone have any last words? Anything they want to talk
Well,
about?
actually, I said you want to quote something else. I thought of a quote that came to mind when we were talking about this movie and how well done it was. It was a Kurt Vonnegut quote, and it was on successful writing, and he said, "Make all of your characters want something, even if it's just a glass of water. Make them all want something."
Kevin
true.
Bacon definitely wanted a glass of water.
And I wish you would have got it because you look so thirsty. Yeah.
What do you think is his most hydrated role in history? Like, in your opinion?
Well, in Stir of Echoes, you actually see him drinking like the orange juice and stuff. So at least I felt like, oh god, he's getting some
Some
nourishment.
fluid, yeah.
Yeah.
What about in that one college movie where he was like,
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
yes.
Animal House.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He looked pretty,
They're drinking beer and stuff. Yeah.
supple. Like his skin like looks like if you press it, it would go back to normal instead of
It'd have
just
some
sinking
tail to
in.
it.
He looked pretty healthy and
He was
excellent
like
first
12.
class.
I was gonna say he looked pretty like quenched in
Yeah.
that movie.
In the Nightmare or not, what was it, Friday the 13th, he was always like hanging out by the lake, so you know he's swimming and stuff. Had some moisture going on there.
but so, like, what I was getting at,
He
like,
couldn't
was that,
swim with all the drag from his wiener, but
yeah.
No, he just shark
He
fined
just-
I was just thinking, I
sank
wonder
to the
if
bottom
he'd be
like an
upset
anchor.
if he heard this conversation until you said that. And he was like,
Yeah, like you're damn right.
I have nothing bad to say about Kevin Bacon. He's one of my favorites.
Great, yeah.
He's one of
Well, I
my-
was just thinking, like, I was
but
wondering.
he does look really thirsty. all the
I
time.
was wondering if there's ever like a movie like and you felt like a sense of relief. You're like, oh, thank God, he looks like finally hydrated.
Yeah, it's one of those ones they call it. What is it? Heroin chic. As a chunkier fella, it's a look I always aspire to. I'm like, man, I wished I looked thirsty.
Yeah.
I just look like I had too much to drink.
Yeah.
And it was all pudding. Okay. That is the end of Meet Your Monsters for this week. Thanks to my friends for hanging out with me. That's you guys. Thanks to you for listening at home. That's Jack, and hopefully Sarah and Derek listen to this.
And now Colby.
Yeah, I've been
Colby will listen.
catching up.
Yeah. If anyone is paying attention, we're making some moves pretty soon. Derek's got some SoundCloud action going on we're talking about, and then I'm going the iTunes route, so hopefully people will eventually start listening to this. Okay, so
If you're looking
thanks,
to
everybody.
invest in a podcast, give us a call.
Next week's movie will be Dead Snow, in honor of this fine snowstorm we're having right
Good
now.
call.
Okay, thanks everybody. That's it. Have a good one.